Welcome to our channel, where we explore the mysteries, revelations, and surprising connections between history and biblical prophecies. If you're passionate about discovering how ancient texts intertwine with real-world events, you've come to the right place. Subscribe and join us for each episode to continue unraveling these fascinating mysteries. Today we will discuss a prophecy that has intrigued scholars for centuries: the prophet Zechariah's vision of Alexander the Great. After conquering Tyre, the Phoenician fortress on the rock, and subduing regions such as Syria and Philistia, Alexander the Great was heading toward Jerusalem. However, something unexpected happened. Just as the prophet Zechariah had predicted 2 centuries earlier, the city was miraculously spared. Zechariah concludes his prophecy by emphasizing that, as he advanced along the Mediterranean coast, Alexander would leave my house intact, clearly referring to Jerusalem. This statement is found in the book of Zechariah, chapter 9, verse 8, where the fulfillment of this surprising prediction is revealed. Then I will encamp around my house like a guard, so that no one will come or go, and no one will pass over them again, for now I will see with my eyes. The liberation of Jerusalem was fulfilled under Alexander the Great, according to Flavius Josephus. The liberation of Jerusalem was fulfilled as literally as the destruction of its enemies, according to the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus. In his work Antiquities of the Jews, Book 11, Chapter 8, Section 5, Josephus describes a remarkable episode that links the figure of Alexander the Great with the high priest of Jerusalem, in a context of divine intervention and prophetic fulfillment. After conquering regions of the Persian Empire, Alexander headed toward Jerusalem. As he approached the city, the high priest Jaddua, guided by a divine revelation received in a dream, ordered the people to offer sacrifices and pray for deliverance. God instructed him to go out to greet the conqueror, which he did, leading a solemn procession. Dressed in his sacred garments, purple and scarlet, with the breastplate over them, and accompanied by priests in white robes, Jaddua went out to meet Alexander. Upon seeing this scene, Alexander prostrated himself before the high priest, surprising his generals. He explained that before beginning his military campaign, he had had a dream in which he saw a man dressed like the priest, who promised him success. Interpreting this as a divine sign, Alexander decided not to attack Jerusalem. Instead, he treated its inhabitants kindly, allowed them to continue practicing their laws, and offered special favors to the temple. This encounter, according to Josephus, was the manifestation of the fulfillment of God's word, who protected Jerusalem through a providential intervention in history. The presentation of the true king. Immediately after the prophecy about Alexander the Great's conquests in Zechariah 9:1-8, the biblical text introduces us to a completely different figure, the Messiah of Israel. Zechariah announces that this king will not come with violence or impose his power by force, but will enter Jerusalem riding on a donkey, a symbol of humility and peace. The prophecy says, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion! Shout for joy, O daughter of Jerusalem! Behold, your king is coming to you, righteous and with salvation, gentle and riding on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Zechariah 9:9. More than 5 centuries later, this announcement was exactly fulfilled when Jesus made his triumphant entry into Jerusalem. The Gospel of Matthew confirms it. All this took place to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet. "Tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, gentle and riding on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Matthew 21:4-5. This parallel between Alexander and Jesus is not accidental. Zechariah invites us to contrast the two conquerors. One, the greatest military strategist in history. The other, the King of justice and salvation, who brought us hope and redemption. Jesus and Alexander died at the age of 33. One died and lived for himself, the other for you and me. The Greek died on a throne, the Jew on a cross. One shed the blood of all, the other gave his own. One conquered the world in life, but lost everything in his death. The other lost his life to take away sin, and that you might believe in him by faith. This contrast reveals to us that true power isn't always manifested in strength, but in humility, justice, and love. If you're interested in continuing to explore these fascinating parallels between history and prophecy, and how biblical prophecies have been fulfilled throughout history, don't forget to subscribe, activate the bell, and explore the other videos on the channel. There's much more to discover. Leave a comment if you like it, and share this video with your friends. It helps me continue. See you next time.